Continuing graphing quadratics. Again, another review topic. We want to find the x-intercepts, y-intercepts, line of symmetry, vertex, and graph. But we know a lot more than the first time we talked about this. So now vertex, we know about the vertex form of the equation, and that's really nice. And then the x-intercepts you find when y equals 0. The line of symmetry is between the two x-intercepts. So let's look at this first problem. Okay. It says find the x-intercepts. So remember for the previous lesson, we can either factor, we can complete the square, or we can use the quadratic formula. Those are our choices. I'm going to complete the square because then I know completing the square will put it in vertex form for me. So let's go ahead. The x-intercepts, we basically set this equal to 0, x squared plus 2x minus 8. Typically we put the 8 on the other side. I mean the 0 on the other side. So I'll do that. Put the 0 over here. And then we open up that spot. We're going to move that 8 over. So x squared plus 2x equals 8. What do we have to add to both sides for completing the square? Well, half of 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. So now I get x plus 1 squared equals 9. Well, to solve this, we're going to take the square root of both sides. You get x plus 1 equals positive or negative 3. So x plus 1 equals 3, x plus 1 equals negative 3. Solve this, you get x equals 2. Solve this, x equals negative 4. Now those are my x-intercepts. So I'm just going to run down to the graph right here, and I'm going to put a point at x equals 2 and x equals negative 4. Okay, so I know we're going to plot those 2 points. Then the line of symmetry is going to be between them. So see how there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces? What's 3 spaces, or half of that? So there's 6 to get here. So the line of symmetry is going to cut this in half. So that's 3. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3 from either direction. 1, 2, 3. I end up right here at negative 1. So my line of symmetry is x equals negative 1. And how did I get that? It was halfway between 2 and negative 4. And I can also watch this. What is 2 plus negative 4 divided by 2? Negative 2 divided by 2 equals negative 1. Algebraically, and then we found it by graphing. Okay, I'm going to come back to the y-intercept for a second, but I just solved this problem to x plus 1 squared equals 9. Vertex form, if I move the 9 over, x plus 1 squared, subtract 9 from both sides, I get 0. So now I can just take my vertex straight from here. The opposite of, I subtracted 9 from both sides. And I got x plus 1 quantity squared minus 9 equals 0. And then now I can get my vertex straight from here. The opposite of this number is negative 1, and then that's negative 9. I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to plot negative 1, negative 9. And notice that my vertex ended up on the line of symmetry, right? So I could just really graph it like this, whoop, whoop. But to find my y-intercept, this one you're going to set x equal to 0. So here I have y equals, take my original equation, wherever there's an x, I'm going to put a 0 in. Let's see if I can clean that up a little bit. Like when it focuses and becomes blurry. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to get 0 squared plus 2 times 0 minus 8. Well, that just equals negative 8. So my y-intercept is when x is 0 and y is negative 8. So we're going to come down here. X is 0, y is negative 8. And line of symmetry means that if there's a point 1 point away this side, I could do 1 point away over there too. And I can just graph this, right? And I was actually able to graph this with just my x-intercept and my vertex. The y-intercept is a little bonus find right there, just to make it a little bit cleaner, neater graph. Let's do this again. The x-intercepts is when y equals 0. So in this case, this problem is pretty simple. I'm just going to go 0 equals x squared minus 9, add 9 to both sides, and I get 9 equals x squared. Take the square root of both sides. I get x equals positive or negative 3. So we're going to come right down here, and I'm going to go positive 3, negative 3. Okay, and what's halfway between 3 and negative 3? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, it's 0. So I know that my line of symmetry is right down the middle there. Okay, so I'm going to put x equals 0. And my y-intercept is when x equals 0. And this equation is y equals 0 squared minus 9, or y equals negative 9. So that means I'm going to go down to negative 9 and plot my point. Looks like I also found my vertex, which I did because look at my equation. X squared minus 9 is already in vertex form. It's already in vertex form. That's like x plus 0 squared minus 9. But this is already in vertex form, so we can label our vertex as 0, negative 9. And that happens to be our y-intercept. And so when we go to graph this, okay, ta-da, there it is. All right, so let's look at this page right here. Find the following quadratics. Find the x-intercepts, y-intercepts. Okay. In this problem, the easiest, let's see, to put it in vertex form, the easiest way, why do they do this hard problem first? Okay. And the other two are really easy. But I'm going to help you with this one. I'm going to factor out a 2, and a negative 2, and make it x squared minus 6x plus 8. And why did these symbols change here? Because negative 2 times negative 6 makes positive 16. Negative 2 times 8 makes negative times negative makes positive 12. Negative times positive makes negative 16. There we go. So now, do you see how this is going to be like the factor? It's going to make it either wider or narrower. If this is a whole number, it's going to become narrower, and that's a negative, so it's going to become opening down. So let's focus on factoring this side. Let's see, you want to factor this or complete the square? Let's complete this. Let's factor this one. This is going to be negative 2 times, if we factor it, it's going to look something like that. And we're going to get, let's see, I'm going to make my box to factor this. Actually, I'll go ahead and I'll put negative 2x squared, negative 16. Multiply that out, you get negative 32x squared. Put my squared in there. 12. What multiplies to 12 that we can, or 32 that we could get a 12 out of? How about 8 times 4? And if they're both negative, nope, I don't want them to be negative. Let's see. They're 16 and 2. Oh, no, wait. A negative and a negative make a positive. This is positive. Gosh, I got to pay attention, don't I? A negative and a negative. So again, I was right. It was 8 and 4. So we're going to get 8x and 4x. Let's factor that out. How about if I do a 2x and an x? Why does this not work out right? Because I want a positive 4. One of these has to be negative. Oh, negative. How about negative 4? 2x times 4. A negative 4 times a 4 is negative 16. That's right. Negative times a negative is positive. Positive times positive. Okay. So we're going to get, ignore this right here. I'm going to get 2x minus 4 and negative x plus 4. Set that equal to 0. And let's find our x-intercepts. I was going to do this another way, but then I thought the box method would be easier for this one. So we're going to get 2x minus 4 equals 0. Negative x plus 4 equals 0. So add 4 here. Add 4. Divide by 2. X equals 2. So I know I'm going to touch it 2. And then I'm going to, guess I'll add x. So I get a positive. Just move that x and I get x equals 4. Ooh, there's my, oh, didn't see me plot them. There's my x-intercepts. Okay. Now I know my line of symmetry is going to be right between them. So how would I write that? Well, since my line of symmetry is on 3, I'm going to go to old school and I'm going to plug 3 back into here. So negative 2 times 3 squared plus 12 times 3 minus 16. So when we first learned to do this problem, we didn't know about the vertex form. You can use the vertex form for this second one, but this one's going to be a little bit easier to do it this way. I get negative 18 plus 36 minus 16. So negative 18 and negative 16 is negative 34 plus 36 equals 2. So we're going to go on my line of symmetry up to 2. And then that makes sense that my graph is going to point down because there's a negative out in front. Right? So I did the first one. You have 2 problems for homework. Okay, I would do this one by completing the square. And then this one, does that say a negative? Negative. Let's see. If we factor out a negative 1, you just get x squared plus. Oh, I would do this one by factoring. If I factor out an x, I'm going to get negative x plus 4 equals 0. So I do the distributive property. X times negative x is negative x squared. X times 4 is 4x. So you're just going to get x equals 0 and negative x plus 4 equals 0. This is going to find your, here's one of your x-intercepts, x equals 0. Solve this one to find the other one. Again, then find the line of symmetry. Line of symmetry, which is in the middle. Plug in whatever the line of symmetry is into this equation, and you'll find the vertex.